Hey guys, how are you all doing? I'm going to recap UFC on Fox 8, Johnson versus Moraga. Yeah, I'm new to this MMA. Well, not MMA. I just made this channel, and I'm going to be picking all the UFC cards and recapping them as well. So, uh, look forward to conversing with all of you guys. Yeah, thank you for watching. Please comment if you want to challenge me on any of my picks or anything I say. Please feel free to do so. Please be kind. Don't come on here and just be a mean guy. Nobody likes that. I'll just ignore you. But I'm gonna recap UFC on Fox 8 right now. So the preliminary card on Facebook, Yatsen Mesa submitted John Albert in the second round. Just broke my heart to see this. John Albert lost to, I believe he lost to John Dodson in the house on Tough 14, but then just had a beautiful fight against Dustin Paige coming into the UFC in the Tough finale. Just threw some beautiful shots and knocked him down. And I remember him getting that gift wrap where he wrapped the arm around, you know what I'm talking about. He had Dustin Peg's arm, kind of wrapped around his own neck, and he was punching him in the face. Real exciting guy. And then after that, he just got thrown to the wolves, and I didn't really, acknowledge it watching this guy as he was going through those fights, but in retrospect I think it was handled terribly by the UFC. Seems like a real talent, real stud, but they just gave him real stiff competition. Gave him Ivan Menjivar, real seasoned veteran. Nearly submitted him in that fight too, rear naked choke, but he ended up getting choked out. Then he fought Eric Perez in a fight I think he kind of got screwed over in. Perez, both of them had each other in I think several arm bars, and each guy escaped, but Perez got an arm bar on him, and John Albert, he didn't tap. I'm pretty sure. I think that was one of those verbal submissions, or not a verbal submission even, but the refs sometimes take it upon themselves to end the fight if a guy's kind of screaming in pain. But yeah, and then after that, they give him Scott Jorgensen. This is just a guy, not even a tough winner, but just a guy coming out of the tough house, and you give him Menjivar, he loses another fight, and then you give him Scott Jorgensen. And Albert fought really well, even had Jorgensen in a triangle choke at one point, but Jorgensen ended up beating him, and again he got screwed over. Not screwed over, but he tapped as the bell rang. If he had just not tapped, he would have went on to the other round. He gets in all of his fights. He's had real close submission attempts. Seems like he's really capable on the ground, but he just can't get over that hump to get a win. I think he's it's probably something mental going on. I mean, he's really exciting, fights really hard. Real close submission attempts, and he ends up getting submitted himself. I don't know if it's a cardio thing, but when you can lock on submission attempts and get real close like that, and you can't finish them, I don't know. I think something's wrong there. I haven't even talked about this fight yet, but I picked him to beat Yatsen Mesa. I thought this was going to be his fight where he finally gets back on track, and it looked that way. He had a triangle choke. I think he had two in the fight that were really close. And then his last triangle choke, he was just looked like it was locked on real tight. And I don't know if he maybe turned his knee in a bad way or he just gasped, but he just let go of the choke and then just laid there on the ground, just allowing for Mesa to get on top of him and choke him out. And that's what happened. But Albert had no excuses in this fight as far as competition goes. This was a guy took a short notice fight against Mendez and got knocked out, a no-name guy. he should have won this fight, and again, just didn't work out for him. Really broke my heart to see 4 losses like that for a young fighter. And it's not like he's getting destroyed in all his fights. He's really exciting. Nearly wins all of his fights with submission attempts. This might wreck his psyche, but I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I'm pretty sure the UFC will cut him. Hopefully they don't. I'd like to see him, get another fight. I think he's so close to, where he can really turn the corner and start winning these fights. But if he goes to another smaller promotion, I think he could do pretty well. But yeah, Yatsin Meza, I still feel like we didn't get to see. We don't really know who this guy is. Obviously tough to fight through those submission attempts, but all of Albert's opponents have seemed to be able to do that. But yeah, we'll see where Meza goes from here. Justin Salas defeated Aaron Riley by split decision. I had picked Riley. Didn't know much about Riley. He got destroyed by Ferguson in his last fight. I think he even got a broken jaw. He seems to be a real sentimental favorite among a lot of MMA fans. I only started watching UFC religiously since UFC 100, so not familiar with Riley's career too well before that point. But he announced his retirement, and that's definitely right. This guy just he had to go one way or another. Got dominated by a no-name guy in Justice Salas, and that's no respect, but that's just the truth. Justin Salas was 1-1 in the UFC, got destroyed in his last fight against Tim Means, and had a real boring, kind of uneventful decision against Antoine Quevenin. But yeah, Aaron Riley got dominated. He had nothing for Salas in that fight. He did land a good head kick at the end. Looked like he might have had something going there, but Salas was just, he kept connecting, and every time Riley tried to get to him, he'd move out of the way. And yeah, Salas, I don't know. Seems like an okay guy. Maybe he can get some more wins here. We'll have to see. I don't know, but I don't think he's going to move that much farther up in the ranks. Next, in women's bantamweight fight, Germaine de Randami versus Julie Kedzie. Randami won by split decision. I didn't enjoy watching this fight too much. It was kind of boring. Seems to be split among the fans who they thought won. I've heard a lot of people say Kedzie should have won on her takedown control. I don't agree with that at all. I thought Randami clearly won this decision. I thought her knees and the clinch really won the fight for her. I think there was one round I gave to Kedzie for top control. I can't remember which, but both of them did not impress me. Didn't look good. I know there's a lot of hype behind Randami, but not a very good fight. We'll see where both of these women go from here. Middleweight fight, Ed Herman beat Trevor Smith by split decision. Ed Herman, in his return to the UFC, knocked out Tim Crater, and then he had a real sick inverted heel hook on Kyle Noak, a guy I think is really good. And then submitted Clifford Starks, and then lost a decision to Jake Shields, and then got submitted easily by Jacare in his last fight. He was desperate for a win, and I thought he was going to come out here and be real impressive, get another submission win, but it was kind of exciting, back and forth fight. I think it was the fight of the night. Trevor Smith, I didn't know who he was, but impressed me. Both these guys were just slugging it out. It didn't seem real. One guy was really getting an advantage over the other, real back and forth. It was tough to score for me. I think I gave Herman the first round and maybe another one in there, but real close fight, and I didn't think it was too impressive by either guy. No one really got a definitive advantage. But I'm excited to see both of these guys again. Trevor Smith, especially since he's a new fighter and really surprised me being able to hang in there with Herman and even rocking him a few times. Next up was Cruikshank and Yves Edwards. Another real uneventful fight. Cruikshank, a guy with some real good taekwondo, real innovative striking, does a lot of unorthodox kicks. And Yves Edwards, coming off of a lackluster decision loss to Isaac Valleyflag. I picked Edwards going into this. I thought he'd be able to get the better of Cruikshank, maybe a knockout, kind of like what he did against Jeremy Stevens. But Cruikshank seemed to be in control, just landing more. In the first round, I thought that was Yves' best round. He got in, got some good combinations in, but just didn't do much for the rest of the fight. I thought it was a cleared. I didn't think it was that close. I mean, it was uneventful, but I was confident Cruikshank would get the decision. Yeah, not very exciting. Yves Edwards, I think the guy should retire. He's had some really great fights and really impressive to be fighting at his age, but really inconsistent, doesn't seem to be able to, come out and, really consistently have competitive fights. He's not winning. He seems to be win-loss. I think he should retire. And Cruikshank, younger guy, we'll see how far he can go. Next up, Gillard. Beat Danzig by KO. Gillard, a real head case. With his personal life and everything, his problems are always well documented. Coming off of 2 losses, just a vicious KO by Donald Cerrone, and then real bad fight over with Jamie Varner for Gillard at least. Gillard, back in late 2010, 2011, went on a little run, starting with he beat Jones Torres, then he beat Jeremy Stevens, and then he just, I thought he really got over that hump and put himself into that elite, just mauling Evan Dunham in a fight that I thought Evan Dunham would just really beat Gillard, and I thought he was too skilled for Gillard. And then it seemed to all be clicking for him at another first round, just devastating KO of Shane Roller. And then that Joe Lazon loss, I think that really fucked him up in the head. Excuse my language. Was never the same after that. It's probably the Jim Miller fight. I think that one really fucked him up. He came out real aggressive against Miller, and Miller ended up choking him out. And then after the Miller loss, he fought, oh God, what's the guy's name? The jiu-jitsu guy. Hold on here. Fabrizio Camoes. A horrible fight for Gillard. He was very hesitant to strike, and I think after those Lozon and Miller losses, he was just, he thought he had to change his game, which, a lot of guys take that approach if they're real aggressive and winning some fights, and then they get beaten or caught themselves. They think they have to stop being aggressive and completely change their style. I think that's just a horrible way to, go about your career. And that Camoes fight was really bad for him. It was a bad fight. But Camoes, he got on Gillard's back, and I thought, oh no, this is gonna be the end of his career. But after Camoes, just a lackluster decision win, got KO'd by Cerrone. Kind of sad to see. And then had another real lackluster fight against Jamie Varner. And this fight, I didn't know who to pick. I thought Danzig could do it. I thought he was, had a better head, had a better place mentally, and probably more heart than Gillard at this point. But Gillard, he wasn't quite as hesitant with his striking as in his fight with Varner and Camus, but he was hitting Danzig with some big shots. Danzig kept pressing forward, but wasn't really landing or throwing much. And then Gillard just hit him, kind of looked like a little shovel hook. Danzig went down. Gillard got on top of him with those hammer fists. Real vicious. Just smashed Danzig's face, and Danzig was out cold. And when he woke up, started crying. Felt real sorry for the guy to see him real vulnerable and just hurt like that. I'm sure he probably had a broken nose, but a vicious KO for Gillard. I just want to see this guy, work hard, and because he's got all the talent in the world to be a contender. You know, I don't know if he can do it though, but he's a guy I'd like to see be successful. He definitely can. He's just, got to get his mental game together. Then Danny Castillo defeated Tim Means. A lot of fans, I think, hate Danny Castillo because he's a wrestler, but I thought Castillo would win this. Tim Means, though, he's looked real good. He looked good in his last fight with Masvidal, even though he lost. And before that, had some real exciting fights. Destroyed Justin Salas, ran through him, and then had his first fight in the UFC was against Bernardo Magalhães. Danny Castillo won this fight with takedowns. There were moments when Tim Means would get that tie clinch and knee him in the chin, or he'd hit him with some big shots. Castillo looked a lot more tired and sluggish than usual in this fight, but still he managed to get the takedowns. But a good win for him over a dangerous guy like Tim Means. Castillo will probably keep giving him low-level guys, and he'll probably be in the sport as long as he can keep winning. I don't see him being a title contender, but he fights hard, and I think he's a decent fighter. I enjoy watching Castillo fight. And Tim Means, 2 losses, not a good spot for him, but they're not going to cut him. I don't think they'll do that. He can get back on track, though. He's got the talent. I'd like to see him get a win. But next fight, feature fight on the FX card, Jorge Masvidal versus Michael Chiesa. Coming into this fight, I was torn. Initially, my initial thoughts were that Michael Chiesa would come close, but Masvidal would be too seasoned of a veteran, and that's what happened. Michael Chiesa, I was real impressed with this guy. I think he's had the best run on The Ultimate Fighter of anyone ever, I think. He decisioned Jeremy Larson in his first fight in the house, and then had some real tough fights where he had to overcome adversity and just pulled through in the end and got the decision. This guy has so much heart, fights real hard, and then choked out Ally Quinta and won his last fight against Quivenin. Real good ground and submission guy. But he came out and his striking was really good. He hit Masvidal with a huge shot. I screamed. I thought it was going to be over there. But Masvidal recovered. And then Masvidal, after coming off his last decision fight over Means, I thought he should have done better than that against Means. But in this fight, he was ripping some beautiful combinations, especially some body punches to Chiesa's body and some knees and kicks to the body of Chiesa. And looked like Chiesa got hurt with some of those body shots, but his hands looked real good. Masvidal is uncorking some 3-4 punch combinations. And then they ended up on the ground, and Masvidal got the Darce choked, and you could see it in his face. Like, he was real happy. He knew he had that. Um, and Chiesa, I felt really bad. He was hanging in there and just tapped simultaneously as the bell sounded. Um, he just had to not tap. In those situations, I really like to see the corner just be screaming out, don't tap, with 1 second left. Maybe they were, and, I couldn't hear it, but yeah, great win for Masvidal, and Michael Chiesa looked really good, but he took this loss hard. I think just walked right out of the cage even before they announced the winner. We'll see how Chiesa comes back, and Masvidal, I think it's already announced he's going to fight Rustam Khabilov. I want to see him get a higher ranked opponent than that. And kind of funny that Chiesa, he tapped like that simultaneously with the bell. When John Albert was the guy to open this card, he did the same thing against Jorgensen. But, yeah, I don't know. Now to the main card, Carmouche versus Andrade. Carmouche got on top early. I picked her to win by submission in the second round. And, beating up Andrade, and then Andrade, I think, turned the tables. I think she had a guillotine choke at the end of the first round, I think. But Carmouche came back, again, got top control, and then just got in a dominant position, was raining down punches and elbows, and eventually got the win. Decent win for Carmouche. The women's division, there's going to be a lot of fighters that no one's ever heard of, so it's kind of hard to gauge the competition. But Carmouche is good, had a great fight against Rousey. I'm pretty sure they're not going to give her a title shot. She just lost to Rousey, but I think she's going to work her way back up and be a contender one day. Next up,
call from wireless caller.
Next up, Robbie Lawler versus Bobby Voelker. Lawler, I picked him to win this fight going into it. Just really impressed me with his win over Koscheck in his last fight. Koscheck, always an elite guy at welterweight. A guy that Hendricks went to a decision to, and Robbie Lawler just beat him. Bobby Voelker. People were saying that this guy could upset Lawler. This guy lost to Patrick Cote, who I think is just, all respect to him, but I think he's he's a real low-level fighter now, and Bobby Voelker lost to that guy. Again, Robbie Lawler, this would have been a horrible fight for him to mess up on, but striking looked real good. Got the KO, the head kick KO. I'm really real excited to see this guy fight now. I think the move to 170 was great. I think he's rejuvenated to be fighting the UFC, but they're saying rematch with Diaz. I think that would be amazing. But I think you could put him up against anybody, even Rory McDonald, maybe. But I think he's a title contender. Next up, McDonald versus Jake Ellenberger. Horrible fight. Very uneventful. McDonald, he had the jab. He was the taller guy. I picked McDonald to win this fight going into it, but I didn't think it would come that way. I thought I thought we were really going to get the next real title contender here at 170. Ellenberger, he's really exposed in this fight. They call him the Juggernaut, and he is, man. When he goes after people in the first round, especially, I think the best example of that is against Campman. This guy was just so fast, just charging straight forward at you, puts you on your heels, and just the hand speed, and the foot speed, just charging forward, the barrage of punches. He didn't do that in this fight. I think he realized, if he overcommits to anything, he was really going to get hurt by McDonald. And McDonald was just content to jab him, made for a really boring fight. It's too bad because these are two of the best welterweights, and I thought we were going to get a real clear contender that we could be excited about, but that didn't happen. And I hate to say that McDonald is usually a really exciting guy. I'm not too excited to see him again now. That's just how the sport goes if you have a bad fight. And Ellenberger, I think his days as a real welterweight contender are over. You can't win a fight by doing nothing, and Ellenberger did nothing in that fight. And then the main event, flyweight champion Demetrius Johnson beat John Moraga by submission. Let me know, you guys, if you saw Moraga tap, because watching the fight live and then watching the replay, I didn't see him tap. I don't know if it was a verbal submission, but I don't know. Either way, Johnson got the win. He got a finish, which everyone's saying this guy's boring and he can't finish. I picked Johnson to win by decision going into this, and that's kind of the way it went. He got the armbar late in the 5th round, but Moraga, young guy, he had 2 finishes, but he was just too green. And people were saying he had the better wrestling. I didn't think that at all. I mean, collegiately maybe, but this is MMA, and Demetrius Johnson, his whole game is wrestling, man. He's got a great takedown, great double leg. Kid Yamamoto just took him down over and over again, so fast with this takedown. His whole game is wrestling, and that's what he did here. Just took him down at will. I think it was like 13 takedowns, or maybe only 8. Maybe 8 takedowns for Johnson, I think. People say this guy's boring. I'll admit, both McCall fights. Well, the first one wasn't boring, but Johnson looked horrible. I think that had to do with the cut, maybe. But that second fight with McCall, I'll give you that. That was pretty boring. And then his Benavidez fight was boring as well, until Benavidez nearly finished him. The Dodson fight was not boring, and this fight was not boring. Johnson took him down, punched him in the face, looked to beat him up. He was always looking for submissions, looking to finish. Moraga was tough to hang in there, but you could see he was just real discouraged. I think he'll be back and he'll be good, but Demetrius Johnson, good win for him. Who does he fight next, though? He said, mentioned move back to 135, and I don't disagree with that. His fight with Cruz, that was a great fight, and he was really taking it to Cruz. Cruz he gutted it out with takedowns and control. But man, yeah, that was a great fight. I'd like to see that fight again. Johnson and Cruz, that was a great fight. His hands looked really good in that fight. Really going after Cruz, but if he were to fight Burrell, that'd be an interesting fight. I don't know. Johnson might be able to take him down, but if he stays at flyweight, I mean, I think the UFC should be somewhat concerned with the flyweight division. Not a whole lot of guys who I think can really challenge Johnson. He seems to be, head and shoulders above everyone else there. John Lineker is fighting this weekend, but I don't think he could beat Johnson. Louis Gaudino, who beat John Lineker, has got a fight coming up. I really don't think he could beat Johnson. I mean, he's from the Ultimate Fighter house. The only guy I could see beating Johnson is Joseph Benavidez, but he's got to improve. And Yeah, the UFC. I think they brought that flyweight division in a little too soon. I think they needed more fighters before they did that, and I think they really got to make an effort to bring in some more high level flyweight fighters because otherwise we're just